Okay, so now we've looked at how to calculate the raw change over time of the percent of people who have water to drink in a country, and also the percent change in the percent of people who have water to drink in a country. This is very useful, and to really tell the next step of the story, we might want to be able to sort the data into which country has had the biggest increase and which countries had the smallest increase. And remember to keep writing down notes as you look uh, into these changes and these sorts, so that when you're writing your story, you can refer to your notes. So we'll look at the tableau, and right now, you'll remember that we're showing the actual values are the dots, and then the change in the values are the labels. But since we want to look at the change as a variable itself, we'll remove everything from the labels just by dragging it off. So now we're still left looking at the change over time. It's just not labeled. So the first thing we want to do is do a quick table calculation, and for this we'll look at the difference rather than the percent difference. So let's look at the change relative to the first, and again remember using the panes, so within countries. So this is the change over time. And for this instance, we just want to see which countries have had the biggest change from 2006 to 2016. So to do that, we want to filter out certain years. So drag year over here to the filter, and we will uncheck all the years that we don't want to show. We're going to leave only 2006 and 2016. Push OK. And now we're looking at the change, and something still, the calculations are correct because the change at 2006 is 0. But it's a little misleading because it looks like there's an actual change of 0 where there isn't actually a change of 0. So we need to go back into our row, and instead of saying relative to the first, we'll say relative to the previous. And that is much more realistic. So now we have only one dot. This is the change from 2006 to 2016. You can see here we have 154 nulls. If we click on that, we would like those nulls to go away. And now we're left with simply each country. This is Albania, this is Algeria, etc. through the countries. This is the change in 2016 relative to 2006. If we'd like to sort and see which countries have had the biggest change and which countries have had the lowest change, we do that by hovering over the axis right here. And if you hover over it and lightly click, you'll have three options. One is to sort descending, one is to sort ascending. So we're going to sort ascending. And just to make the labels a little clearer, we'll right click the label and we'll ask it to rotate. It won't do it because there's not quite enough space. So we'll just drag and drop this slightly lower. Actually, we'll probably need to do it a lot lower because some of the countries have very long names. And again, we'll try and rotate this label. Okay, so now our countries are sorted into the biggest change through to the smallest change in the percent of people who have access to drinking water. We can see Cambodia has had the biggest change, the most improvement, the biggest positive change. 22.8% more people in Cambodia have access to water than they did in 2006. In Laos, 20.9% more people have access to water than they did in 2006. And then we just drag the scroll bar here, and a lot of countries are hovering around 0. There's quite a lot of countries with no change. And if we just scan what kind of countries those are, it's pretty easy to see. Those are countries with pretty much money. Luxembourg, Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway. But there's some interesting ones. Kuwait, Slovak Republic, Jordan, Macedonia, Jamaica. So those aren't all the high-income OECD countries. So again, take some notes in your notebook. This country didn't change. That's interesting. This country changed quite a lot, and that's interesting. And then here we see Algeria, Sudan, Haiti, and Yemen were the countries that had the biggest actual drop. So there are fewer people in these countries that have water in 2016 and in 2006. That's a very interesting story. So you'll want to take notes on those 4 countries and see if you can do some reporting. Again, iterative, looking at the data, then looking on the ground, then looking at the data, then looking on the ground. What's going on in those countries? Is there a natural disaster? I think there probably is in one of those countries. Is there a war? I think there probably is in one of those countries. Are there social policies? What is going on in those countries that is causing them to have fewer people able to access water? And then what's going on in these kind of countries? Cambodia, Laos, Mali, Libya, Ethiopia. What's going on here that they're having so much of an increase?